convention rules. Need a motion to adopt the convention rules.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Who's second? Leandro, Missouri.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Roll call.
We have 64 in attendance. We have 10 national officers, 1 past president, 7 department, 36 chapter, for a total of 54 voting delegates. We also have 12 non-voting delegates. That is my roll call.
Okay. Introduction to guests, they aren't here yet. Okay, I would like to have a motion to adopt the 2016 minutes from our last convention.
Johnny from Georgia got the first. Christopher from Kentucky got the second.
All right, any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passed.
Guys, can we back up a second? What is the majority number and what's the 2/3
The
number?
vote, majority, 2/3 is 36. The majority is 28.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Kathy.
Okay, at this time, I would like to have the departments give their reports. So we'll start out with who's here. Florida, I know Florida's here. You're in, Bob. Great.
Now I can run those down for you as you go, sir.
Okay, you take care of that for me.
I'm just gonna make it short and sweet. We have 25 chapters, 672 members. Progress reports, 1,685,826, 420,000 miles. And if nobody knows, we have a walking cane program for veterans. Fill out an app, we will send out a walking cane to any veteran in need. So it's a very good program. If anybody else, like in any other states, like to pick it up, it's a very good idea. We got 300 walking canes donated from the Hurricane Walking Cane Company. So you can get these things, and before that, we've even had the National Service Foundation donate us money to buy canes to give out. So it's a very good program and it's going very well. That is my report. Make a motion to be accepted.
Thank you, sir. Alaska. No, departments.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Georgia.
You gotta ask you there.
Okay, make the report, sir.
Well, I don't have much to report. We did do, we have done two rides, one on Memorial Day, one on, July 1st.
Was that on bikes or snowmobiles?
That was on bikes. It was a cold ride on Memorial Day.
Bet it was.
We have two active chapters. We got about 10, 12 members. We're pretty small at the moment, but we're growing and trying. We don't have any progress reports yet to put in, but I have questions on that, so I'll get with you guys later on that.
Not a problem. Georgia.
Right now we have 4 chapters, 88 members, and we're still growing. Still looking to grow.
Thank you. Iowa.
Right now we have 4 chapters, looking to add 2 more chapters. Last year we had a great year. We did some fundraising, got out in our communities, really getting the writer's name out there and working along, we collected a lot of, for our food banks for our veterans, and we collected a lot of money that we'll be purchasing items for veterans in need. Again, we're just trying to grow our chapters and get a little bigger. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Indiana.
Indiana has no report.
Thank you, sir.
That was
Nice.
Kentucky.
Coming your way, babe.
Bluegrass State. Never saw bluegrass.
No bluegrass.
Kentucky currently has 5 chapters. We have interest from 2 of our other AMVET posts in the state for, the process to begin writing, charters there. Total of 133 members in Kentucky and growing. Kentucky Department will be hosting its first annual Fire and Ice Rally and Ride. We'd like to extend an invitation to all of our Riders Nation to join us, September 29th through the 1st of October. And then also, we are getting underway to distribute 100 backpacks filled with quite a few items, including blankets, thermals, and bathroom needs for our veterans without a home currently in Kentucky before winter. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Michigan.
9 chapters, 183 members, add about 2 or 3 members each year. Got another 2 posts interest from potential charter outside of that. Very active chapters, even though not all of them reported yet, but they're all active. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Missouri.
There you go, John.
John Mandel, State President for Missouri. Currently, we have 374 members, 320 riders, 181 AMVETs, 86 ladies, 107 sons, and 54 supporters. What's going on new in Missouri right now? Billy Spencer, which couldn't be here, he's gotten ill, but it's really a bad thing. Big man, it's really taking its toll on him. Billy would be the first son to ever be state president in Missouri, and Billy's a good man. He's going to do real well for us. Things coming up. The Camp Hope Ride. Camp Hope is the biggest fundraising event in the nation as national riders. This will be the 10th annual one, and last year we generated funds on our poker run for like $35,000. So if you can make it up to Missouri, it'll be a big one, biggest one ever, I imagine. And other than that, I don't have anything else.
Thank you. We're going to suspend from reports for a minute. The commanders are here and like to speak.
Just one.
One? All right, bring him in. All right. All right.
Feel like I'm in Missouri. How you doing, Commander?
How you doing, Commander?
I am awesome. Thank you for the opportunity to come up.
Snelly?
Please be seated. Thank you for the opportunity for me to come in and with my executive, or your executive director. I want to make sure that we visit the house with my fancy hat. And well, I have to tell you, you know what you do out there, and you're getting more recognition each day you go by. There's more people hearing from you, and I'm sorry what happened on the floor today. I totally made that clear with our and about the covers. You know, it was a done deal. I guess he misunderstood because we discussed that.
It gets a little overzealous.
Yeah, so it all worked out, and but truly, you have each one of your chapters are doing great things, and I'm just so proud of you. You just get more people on it. So good luck with your elections, and hopefully we'll have a new commander coming up board here, and I'm sure he'll do a good job too. First sons of AMVETs, is that correct? Yes, sir. First sons to be your president. So have a good year, and thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Well, I thank you all very much for the hospitality you showed me in Missouri and everything you guys taught me about riders earlier this year. And I've been doing my very best to take that and to let the rest of the organization know I've taken it upon myself to learn a lot more about the great things you are all doing. And, you know, one of the focuses that I was charged with when they hired me about a year and a half ago, was to help bring the family back together and to remove some of the divisions that, you know, had worked their way through. And, you know, I took that on very seriously. I really believe in that. I did not know early on that that you guys won't be fully embraced at that time. And now I don't understand why that ever was the case, and I hope it never happens again, but I can tell you, I really believe that people in the other parts of the family are fully embracing and understanding what you're doing. We're going to keep doing everything we can, continue to learn, continue to put that forward. I look forward to coming out to your mid-year rally again in Florida, and I want to make sure that next year's convention, that you're even more visible, and we're able to really just be together. Love to be able to get your bikes out front so everyone can see these beautiful machines you're bringing out here too, and be able to start that conversation about the great things you're doing in your communities too. So, thank you very much.
Okay, we can be seated, folks.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Good luck, you guys, good luck.
Okay, at this time, we'll finish with the department reports. New York.
New York's doing great. We have 8 chapters, 2 that are in the works. Hopefully they'll continue on with the application process. Program supporting's a little weak, but we're working on it. Can't give you any numbers, but I'm sure the first vice and our second vice have everything out there for you. So heavily involved with the food bank, Western New York, suicide prevention and awareness, and honor and remember. That's all anti-riders in New York undertaking those 3 posted out.
It's a big accomplishment. Big accomplishment. Ohio.
Hey, Joe.
Okay, Ohio has 19 chapters right now, 392 members. We put 2 new ones since the last national meeting, and I got a check yesterday saying we were supposed to get the paperwork for another chapter start running to get out to everybody. We had a convention that went well in June. We were honored that the national commander was there, along with the national secretary, national JA attended. We donated $5,000 this year to the Fisher House Foundation. And Post 51, which I don't remember Post 51, they have a benefit every year which goes to the Fisher House Foundation. And they have raised a total of $32,000 for the Fisher House. And we're working, like I said, I got a new chapter supposed to come in Monday, and I got 2 that are talking about coming in. So look out for it along the way.
All right, thank you, Joe. Wisconsin. No Wisconsin in the house? All right. This time I'd like to have a motion to accept the department reports.
Motion from Gunny, Georgia.
Second.
Second. Larry from Georgia.
Any discussion? If not, everybody in favor?
Aye.
Everybody opposed? It passed. At this time, I've been told that not everybody that was on this list that registered is here, so I need to get a correct body count, so I have a correct count on the vote.
If I could get, as I call you chapter and your name, if you would please raise your hand. As soon as the sergeant at arms comes back in, so we can get a good body count, that would be appreciated.
Come on, Larry.
Okay, I will have Larry count. As I call your name, raise your hand so he can get a good body count. Alaska, Mike. Florida 2, Vince Streeter.
2. 1. Okay, well, maybe it's not, I'm sorry. Okay, we got
One for Alaska, one for Florida.
1 Alaska, 1 FLA, okay?
Florida 44, Don Fiore, Jody Wood, and Richard Mann.
They're all three here.
Florida 60, Robert Wells. Florida 113, Karen and Don Cox.
Absent.
Florida 312, Tom Sariani.
See you, Tom.
Georgia 10, Jeremiah Bodkin, Linda Bodkin, Tom McNamara.
Okay.
Georgia 12, and this is delegates only, guys. Robert DeBeer is, yes, alternate. I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong column. Delegates, we have Michael Bush, David Ray, Larry Miller.
Yep.
Iowa 2, David Wilkins.
Gotcha, Dave.
Iowa 31, Jim Sadler.
I endorse you, sir.
Iowa 49, we have Dan McDonald, Casey McDonald, Rhonda Morgan, Michael Morgan, George Cummings, Natalie Cummings.
Present.
4 of those are absent at this moment.
But they're all here.
Indiana 23, Lee Williams.
Gotcha, Lee.
Indiana 99, Rochelle Jones.
That's flat.
Rochelle Jones,
Delegate counts fine, that's it.
that's it. We do not need to continue. We needed to find the one.
That's
Thank
it.
you.
Okay, Mr. President, I have the National Commander on site.
Okay, bring him in.
All right, everybody, the new National
Well, I
Commander.
tell you what, all of a sudden, we're off of damn power. There we go. All right. These guys have never come down before.
Gentlemen. There he is.
Good afternoon, sir.
President,
Commander, floor is yours.
thank you. I'm only gonna take up a couple minutes of your time to read the business, cause I gotta be downstairs in 7 minutes, so I can raise my hand and get sworn in. Please, have a seat, have a seat. Mr. President, officers of the Helmets National Riders, it's my privilege to be in front of you today. I wanna let all of you know, which I've talked to the outgoing and the incoming president, that hopefully this year, I think it has been over the past, but this year, the riders will not be left out of anything that goes on in Nashville. I will make sure that when I send it out to my vice commanders and my auxiliary and my sons, presidents, commanders, you guys will be included. If any of you need anything from me this year, feel free, give me a call. If you can't reach me for some reason for a day, you have a communications officer sitting right over here, Miss Kathy Campbell. She knows how to get in touch with me.
He's in my phone.
Because she is the Riders Chapter Treasurer, Chapter 7 in Louisiana. And we see each other not on a daily basis, but on a weekly basis. So, if any of you need anything,
feel free to contact me. I haven't got my new email address yet for headquarters, but it's gonna be mfolk@amvest.org. I guess, unless they change it, 'cause that's what everybody else's is, first initial name. But if you guys need anything from me, I will work with you this year. And I will make sure that the riders are involved in every aspect of the organization. And I really appreciate what you do, because if you go in and look at programs, you guys, you know what you do. I can't go and tell you. With all the programs that you report, that gives us the fuel we need when we go to the Capitol, when we go to the Hill, to fight for our rights as veterans and spouses of veterans and family of veterans, because that's what we do. And with your help, you guys do a tremendous job in that, and I really appreciate it. Anybody have any questions? Good. I don't want to be late for my own installation.
Thank you, Commander, and by the way, you're invited to our mid-year rally last weekend in April, and the hotel's on us.
Last weekend in April?
Yeah.
I'll be out, Florida? Yeah.
Now, how the hell does that feel, man? Two national officers in one damn day come on our floor. It's the first time it's ever happened. Maybe we are getting someplace.
No, Gary tried that.
Yeah, yeah, but when he came on the floor, he
Put us on probation.
Put us on probation.
Just saying.
Well, anyway, at this point in the juncture, when I have the officers come up and give their reports, I'm gonna also include their committee reports, so that way we're not doing it now and doing it later. They're up here talking. They can just get it all damn done at one time. All right? Since the first vice isn't here, we will start with Tom. Okay.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tom McNamara, the Riders National Second Vice. This past year, from convention to convention, ambulance riders have reported $5,176,472 in programs reporting. We have ridden 1.6 million miles, and with 178,000 volunteer hours just between last year, this time, and now. If you want to break that down between members or by members, I'm going to skip on that for just a second. I want to jump down to year-to-date for 2017. We're at $2.6 million. We're right on target for where we were last year. I'm hoping that it picks up later on this year, as it usually does, and we bust the $6 million mark this year. Just in comparison, because this is not a competition, but just to let you guys know how your work stacks up.
Bullshit, it's a competition.
The AMVET's reporting last year with 250,000 members in the AMVET's organization nationwide and across the world was $11,728,343. Now, what that breaks out to, with the 250,000, is about $46 per member in programs values. Where we are at $5.1 million, it breaks down to about $5,176 per member in programs values.
Hoorah!
So I had to run, I was like, that doesn't seem right. So I got information on the Suns. 20,000 Suns members. They reported 10.2 million. Theirs breaks down to about 513. So the Suns are doing better than the AMVETs, and we're blowing everybody else out of the water. And that's with 2,500 members as compared to 250,000. That's you guys, every bit of it. The movers and the shakers are making your chapters get out there and do stuff. We've done good things this year with the lotteries, it was kind of disappointing. Last year we voted to do the lottery and the gun raffle. We've done away with the president's project, and we decided to put this money from the lottery and the gun raffles back into the riders. We decided on scholarships. We've given out 3 this year. We had 5 total. Death benefits. We've done 2 this year.
No, one
so far and one getting ready to come in.
It's early in the meeting.
Yeah. But from the gun raffle, right now we're sitting at just over $2,000 in sales. So between what we've got in the tickets and the guns, we're gonna make about $1,000 towards the programs that we've chosen to help you guys with. Next year, I hope there's a little bit more emphasis, and I'm sorry if I failed at that point. There should be more emphasis on getting these national things out. We don't want to raise, dues. These are the reasons we don't want to raise dues, but this money goes back to the riders. It doesn't, help us get hotel rooms or anything like that. This is death benefits and scholarships for our kids and grandkids. Anybody else have any questions on the second vice programs board? As the second vice, I was also in charge of the long-range planning committee. We went over it in committee yesterday. There's a lot of items. Most of the items we had for our 1-year plan got accomplished. That was with a lot of help from the departments and chapters. We're still a little slow on some things, and Jim will go over like the SOPs and stuff. But the long-range plan, for the 1 year, we've accomplished most everything we set out to do, and a few 3-year items. So that's moving along pretty well. That'll be for the next second vice to form a committee and get his thing going. Is there any more questions about that? All these documents can be found on the Riders website, investridersnational.org. I've been preaching this for 2 years now. Get on the site, play with it, you can't break it. Just look at everything. It's got your CBLs in there. It's got how to do SOPs. It's got a link on the bottom of every page to put your programs in. You don't have to go through the 5 or 7 steps by the AMVETS.org. On the AMVETS Rider site, I just can't preach enough how well Kelly thought this out. To get to the programs reporting is on the bottom of every page on the AMVETSRidersNational.org. And thank you, and that is my report.
Thank you. Tom?
Yes, sir.
I'll make a
Okay,
motion.
yeah.
Make a motion to take Tom's report.
John Randall for the second, Snake out of Kentucky.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Carries. Mr. Quick?
Oh, cool.
No report.
Thank you. Moving on?
Yeah, right.
Mid-year, if you wet, you got wet, you got through some floods and did some stuff. We have lots of those in too.
It was successful, not as successful as Missouri hoped, but Mother Nature didn't help us out a bit. That was tough. It was tough. We got the national president in as the water closed in behind us.
Yeah, it did.
That wasn't the scary part. The scary part was I didn't have a room in that area and I might have to bunk with him. And
I didn't think my wife would like that though.
pretty much it. Everything moved around. The 48 did an outstanding job of, as we knew they would, of postings. They took it over from Missouri 1. Missouri 1 lost their post twice. So, yeah, water's been tough on the Midwest this year. I am chair of the grievance committee, as has been in the past several years. No report from the grievance committee. We had no grievance to the national level. I think that's it. Oh, committee of past national presidents. I had a great meeting. I was by myself. I was with people I loved. It was wonderful. I was in my room. I enjoyed it. And I have no minutes because they were personnel issues we were talking about. We played with the gobbler, and that was about it. And I didn't figure it out from my reports. Oh, I do want to touch on the next video. The next video we are going to Vanilla, Florida. Man, the new post is coming out of the ground. We're going to be kicking the tires on a brand new car there. That would be awesome. That is the sitting national president's home post as well as the national secretary. Yeah, that's our largest department. Man, we expect a turnout that's off the hook. 113 should have the mid-year of the mid-year. So there's been some discussion amongst the departments about formulating a route to Florida. We've got a big blue ridge coming down this side of the continent, and so everybody kind of to the north and to the east can come down the coast side. Everybody else can come down to the Georgia side. We can work together, use social media, get these things together where you can get out. Not only is the media a great vehicle for finding ideas and thoughts in other places, we can use the ride there as seeing dead nuts how people are doing it. You can go to Somerset, which is in the beautiful Kentucky mountains. You can run down through Georgia 10 or 12 in the beautiful Georgia mountains, and there's lots of cool stuff. Tail off the dragon. That's all in that area. Knox 104 is right there at the base of the tail. So there's a lot of good people and great ideas that we'll be able to see and do with just a little bit of coordination as we start to vector our ways in forward. So I look forward to seeing everybody there. I'll be there with the bells on. Look for adoption. You got anything else that I need to do, sir? When is 19? Oh, yeah, that 19 mid-year is going to be in Thornville. Who cares? No, Thornville, Ohio is going to be for the 19. It was chosen at the mid-year. That's pretty much the big thing we pick at mid-year is the next mid-years. I made an attempt to get by that post on the way here just so I can give you an accurate depiction. I've seen the photographs and I Googled a little bit. That's going to be an outstanding venue. It's very central to the membership, and which should allow easier access to the Northeast. So for even the Jersey boys out there and all the way up to Kevin in New York, Massachusetts would be a lot easier to get those guys down to the mid-year. That's the purpose of the mid-year, is to move it around, make it accessible to all of our membership. That's what we want to be inclusive, not reclusive, if you will. So there you go. How did that? I look for adoption. Oh my questions. Do I have it for you? We gotta make a motion.
Kevin got a motion? Second, Orlando?
Now it's discussion.
Who's got one?
Discussion.
You said discussion.
I'm good.
I'm good.
That's your thing, not mine.
Okay, we have a motion in a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed. Okay, Mr. Whitcraft.
Sorry, I dropped my turkey.
Well, I thought I'd give you done, because he's gonna be longer. The short guy always takes more time.
Well, I've got a good bit here too, so. I want to touch on a couple things that have come up. There's been some questions. I don't know what the questions were, but I do want to touch on some things here. We've been asked about our incorporation. Are we incorporated nationally? Yes, we are. We weren't always like we should have been. When I took over in 2012, I asked for documentation. I basically was given no documentation when I took over. I asked for documentation of our incorporation, found out that it fell through the cracks. So in 2014, we are incorporated as the National Ambient Writers. If you write this down with entity number 2350401, and we are registered with the Ohio Secretary of State. We're incorporated in Ohio, effective 12/12/14. We'll be incorporated there through December 12th of 19. Our official incorporation address is the AMVETS Department of Ohio headquarters in Columbus, Ohio. I checked with them to see if we could officially use that, and they were fine with that. So we are legitimate. We're incorporated as our bylaws require us to be. We did Ohio because it kind of seemed to be the easiest place to incorporate. I did a search everywhere, Florida, everywhere I thought we may have been incorporated, it never happened. So we are incorporated. I also want to touch a little bit about maybe the confusion with chain of command and communications. Chain of command basically is the procedure you go through if you have issues from the bottom up. It's kind of getting confused with communication. It should not be hindering communication. If you're a department president, you know, chain of command doesn't just mean send everything to your chapter presidents. I mean, you can send any information down that you need to for the betterment of your department. Nationally, we blast out all the time for members. Departments should too. So let's don't confuse communications with chain of command. It's two totally different things. Chain of command is if you have issues, the protocol you need to get through up through the system. We'll touch on SOPs. They've been very slow coming in. They are required. I've had some people say, well, if we opt to adopt the unified bylaws, we don't need to do that. Well, bylaws is not an option. Those are your bylaws. They're yours whether you want them or not. It was voted in. There may be a little confusion in the standing operating procedures. It's nothing more than standing rules. Everybody had them. You all need to just put them in writing, send them up. If your department, send them to your department JA for review. They come on to us for appear for approval. And it's just things like your due structure, who you fund to go to meetings, whether it be national department meetings, just things that's pertinent to your department and pertinent to your chapter. That's part of the unified bylaws. We left that open, so we knew we couldn't write a bylaw that would cover all that little stuff in your particular entity. So again, those need to be done. I'm going to try to tell you, I've got very few right now. I've received the Department of Michigan, Michigan 23, Michigan 1988. I've got Department of Kentucky, Kentucky 61, 64, 119, 123, 125. Kudos to Kentucky, they are complete. So only one we're complete. I do have the Department of Missouri. I have Florida 44, 312, and 2298. I have Louisiana 7, and I have Ohio 76, 149, and 1983. So you can see that's not very many out of all of our departments and 130 chapters we have. One other thing came up, Tom, I'll make it back to you on this. We've had some things come up and definitions. You know, the bylaw says this, what does it mean? Well, it's pretty explanatory, but we think we probably need to have some definition as to what it means. One thing came out of Georgia, and a good thing. We say several times in our CBL, member in good standing, we really don't have it defined. So what we're looking at is having a glossary of terms to define things that we believe that, you know, as questions come up. The question was, where do we put that? We don't attach it to the bylaws, or should we attach it to our national SOPs? We've been discussing for a good while, and I think in the last week we put together, I think maybe Tom, you've even started working on it. We're going to develop, and this is much overdue, we're going to develop a officer, what are we going to call it? Officer's manual. In other words, to spell out what your duties are as an officer and the steps and timelines you need to have to be effective in your job. So that's much overdue. So I think the consensus in yesterday's meetings is this glossary of terms will be attached to that document, and part of our national, our officers, not just nationally, for every officer, our officers handbook. That way, when you elect officers, you got new officers in, it's not gonna be a physical thing to be passed out, it'll be a document to be on the website, like all our documents are. You can go on there and, you know, if you're a part of the JA, if you're a chapter treasurer, your functions will be spelled out, your timelines that you need to do things will be there. It's long overdue, and I know Tom is, how far into it are you? 12 pages into this new document, so he's document heavy, has been, so whoever the next second vice is, he will turn that over to. I'm sure he'll help him with it, but.
No, I'm finishing this.
Oh, you're gonna finish it?
I'm gonna finish it.
Okay, good man, good man. So anyway, that will be coming, and anytime there's a definition in terms like member in good standing, as these things come up, we will define what it means and it'll be posted. So you'll have reference to it. You may not like it, maybe question about it, but at least you know what we define, you know, that situation as. We have some proposed national standard operating procedures to present. The NEC has adopted these. We're going to throw them out there for ratification. It just happened this week. Qualifications for national office. I'm going to read this first one, and we're going to put this to the floor for discussion and ratification from the floor. Qualification to hold a national elected office are as follows. Need to have been a department officer for a period of 2 years and either attended 2 meetings, which would be our mid-year conference or convention, or sat on a national committee for a period of 2 years, or have held a national appointed office for a period of 2 years. Very simple. To be a national officer, that's the minimum qualifications for it. To be an appointed national officer, there's no qualifications required. Step further, to be qualified to hold the office of national president as follows. Must have held a national elected office for at least 2 years. Pretty simple, pretty basic, minimum. So what I'm going to ask for is a motion to accept that, second, and then we'll discuss.
Make a motion. Motion, Christian, Kentucky. Second, Riando.
Discussion. Any discussion on that? No discussion. We covered it pretty well yesterday, but a lot of you weren't there yesterday. All in favor of that? Aye. Opposed? In the second SOP national we're going to present is the amount of national officers from a single department. I know at department level this can be a real problem. We don't want it to be there national, and I would urge you to adopt something like this in your department SOPs. The maximum number of national officers allowed from a single department at one time shall be limited to the following. There shall be no more than 2 elected and 1 appointed officer from one department, or 2 appointed officers and 1 elected officer from a single department. That's it, plain and simple. I have a motion to accept that, ratify that. New York.
Motion, Gene. I got the first motion, Gene out of Kansas. Second, Kevin, New York.
Discussion on this.
Tom, Gene.
Tom Serrani, Florida, chapter 312. You're gonna limit this so many officers from each department. Okay, so you've got 4 or 5 wanna go, who decides which ones are gonna be and which ones aren't gonna be?
Well, the election process will sort that out. I mean,
Well, what if they all got more votes than somebody from someplace else? But
Well,
who
you
you decide who you're gonna eliminate, just the lowest voter? Is that what you're saying? Who gets the lowest amount of votes? Is that who you're eliminating? I mean, you're talking,
I think what will
all
happen
these
is,
different officers. And they're all gonna, let's say you got 5 of them from Florida, let's put it that way. And they wanna be national officers, and they're running for different offices. So who you decide, they all get majority votes. Which ones do you fill out?
Well, you're gonna have to decide that as the nominations come up, as elections start. I mean, you know, if you want 5 people from Ohio who wanna run, they're gonna have to sort that out, okay? Who's gonna step aside? We're not gonna get all these people on our board.
So you're saying.
And this is no different than the department level. You should deal with this at the department level too. You know, you got chapter, let me pick a large one in Ohio, because I'm from Ohio, 51 from Ohio. You don't want 5, 6 people on your board from one chapter. More than you want that many people on your national board from a department. So it'll sort itself out. I mean, I'm sure that department, if they've got 4 people in one run, they're gonna sort it out before the nomination process goes through. I don't think I'm answering your question, but I understand yours for sure.
That's problematic, yeah.
Well, everything's problematic.
I don't think it's gonna work.
Well, wait, what you do
Well,
is.
hang on, brother, I'm moving to you. Identify yourself,
Jimmy Carroll from Jersey. What you do is if you have 5 people running from the same place, and everybody's gonna vote, they all get their votes, the person with the least amount of votes is dropped off. And then you keep eliminating them like that till you get down to the final 2, and everybody has to re-vote again, and the person with the majority of the votes is the one that goes.
Perfect. Perfect.
But I really don't think that pertains to what he's wanting to know. He's saying, what if you got 4 people from one department and one run for national office? Well, you're gonna have to sort that out. As long as you do that, you're gonna get there. I don't know if it's gonna be problematic, but.
First 2 awards of positions. Oh, sorry, Vince.
Okay, so are you saying that, it's gonna be sorted out in the nomination process? Is that where it'd be sorted out? So if 2 people, say from Florida ran for a national office, those 2 people, let's say there's 3 of them, the first 2 that get nominated, nobody else can run at that point. Is that where it's gonna be sorted out in? Is that the, nomination process?
No, if you think about it, Vince, if you got 4 people that wanna be nominated, and we start an election, and you get 2 elected, the other 2's not gonna get elected. You might as well just drop the name from the nomination at that point. So you gotta figure out the department, if you wanna load up, you're only gonna get 2 on there. But I don't care what department it is, I mean, it's just a matter of you're gonna have to sort it out once. You know, we went through this heavily yesterday.
I'm sorry. That's all right.
That's okay, Joker 44. What happens if you have a case where, nobody else wants to run for that office?
It's never been a case in Nashville. There's too many people here that won't take off. We've never had anybody that didn't want to run for national office. We never will have anybody that doesn't want to run for national office.
Okay. Yeah, you're talking about pushing it down to the department also, right?
Well, it's your department. You want 5 or 6 people from your chapter on one department as a department officer on one chapter. It kind of leaves the other chapters out, doesn't it?
If they're the ones that are gonna step up and do the job and nobody else has stepped up.
So you're telling me that you've got 6 officers from one chapter of your department, that chapter is not gonna run the department? That's what you're kind of insinuating.
No, what I'm saying is you're gonna have 6 people that wanna do the job.
So they run. One of them's gonna get it. I'm out, I don't know what the issue is.
That's okay. You do what you want, Dennis.
No, we're not gonna, no, let's get something straight right now.
Hang on.
We're not gonna do what we did.
We're gonna stop this right here.
Yeah.
All right? I'll call it out. We knew you guys were gonna come and start something. You guys should have been here for the committee meetings. You weren't here. And at the beginning of this goddamn meeting, I said something about that, and nobody argued with me. Understood. So to go try to argue with him now. You guys had every opportunity to be here yesterday. Only guy from Florida showed up was Bob. And he's the only one that ain't saying nothing. Go, brother. Wait.
One more and we're gonna.
Christian was first.
Pardon?
Christian was first.
I just want to say something real quick in favor. A couple years ago at one of these national conventions, there was a lot of discussion going on about fairness of delegates. And today we're sitting with a situation that's a lot more fair when it comes to the department level, and chapter level, and recognizing our smaller chapters. This is a situation where now one of our states is arguing that this isn't fair because they want to be able or should be able to put all of their people from their state up at the podium. And in all fairness to the little states out there, and in all fairness to the other states out there, and especially moving into a state where you will be heavily delegated, I think it's important that you guys remember the flip side here when you were fighting for fairness of all sides of chapters, that you also today fight in all fairness of states in holding office up here. That's my comment. I'm in favor.
Okay, we've had discussion on this. All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed?
No.
Ayes have it. I do want to say, and we've decided that to prevent anybody from running from office at this convention, this will be in effect after this convention. So nobody is being shut out. They came here to run for an office, go for it. This will be in effect after this convention. Unlike most of the things, it's effective immediately. It does not affect this convention. Okay, we've got 5 resolutions. We went over these yesterday in committee. I'm going to read the resolutions. I'm going to give you the committee recommendations, and we'll discuss them on the floor. Per your convention rules, we're going to limit it to 5 discussions from each side, pro and con, so keep that in mind. Resolution 1 is the Unified Bylaws. It has to do with Section 5.8 on dues and remittance, submitted by the Writers National CBL Committee. We don't pass these out. These went out a month ago like they should for our bylaws. You all should have seen them. Again, they were discussed heavily yesterday. Whereas Article 5, Section 5.8 sets the dates for dues remittance to departments and national. And whereas the Sons of Band Vets and the Ladies Auxiliary have set the deadlines for payment of their dues on December 31st, it does not allow for adequate time for our first vice presidents to confirm that our riders are in good standing with those parent organizations before accepting their riders' dues. And whereas riders' dues are due to departments on February 1st, this has become an issue in getting dues to riders' departments in the allotted time frame, and it would be beneficial to extend our due dates by 30 days. What this is saying is, our Sons and Auxiliary dues aren't due December 31st. Your dues are due to the department by February 1st. It really doesn't give our first vices long enough. So therefore, it be resolved to amend Article 5, Section 5.8 to read as, chapters shall remit national dues and department dues if applicable, and a complete membership roster to the respective riders' departments no later than March 1st of each year. If no riders' department exists, national dues and rosters shall be sent to the National Riders Secretary no later than March 1st of each year. Departments shall collect their chapters' dues and rosters and send them to the Riders National Secretary no later than March 15th each year. Chapters with no department remitting dues after that date will be assessed at $25 late fee. Departments shall fine chapters paying this late. Chapters failing to remit dues by April 1st shall automatically be suspended. Suspended chapters may be reinstated no later than June 1st by submitting a complete membership roster, dues, $25 late fee, and $50 reinstatement fee. Chapters failing to reinstate by June 1st shall be subject to a vote of revocation by the Riders Delegates at the Riders Annual National Convention. What this is doing is extending all dues deadlines 30 days. Very simple. The committee recommended that the body adopt this. Again, that's just a committee recommendation. But I ask for a motion to accept this.
And a motion from Larry, Georgia, second from Gunny, Georgia.
Discussion. Floor is open for amendments, discussion, whatever. Any discussion on this? No discussion, I'm asking for a vote. All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Okay, resolution number 2, this is a constitutional resolution. So this is gonna have to pass the floor by 2/3 vote. It has to do with membership, section 7.2. It was submitted by Kentucky 123 through the Writers Department of Kentucky, as it should have been, everything was appropriate there. Whereas the AMVETS Riders Unified Constitution does not include motorcycle riders that have their endorsement and are registered and insured according to state guidelines, or their girlfriend, boyfriend, or family member's motorcycle. The state of Kentucky, for example, allows legally for this scenario, whereas under the current 7.2, such person cannot join the riders as a riding member, yet they are the one riding the motorcycle. Credit scores should not keep their AMVETS riders from signing up otherwise qualified members. By amending this article, we would be inclusive of all motorcycle enthusiasts in our AMVETS organization and all of our future members. Therefore, be it resolved to amend Article 7, Section 7.2 to read as, riding members must be the legally registered owner of a motorcycle or be the spouse of an AMVET rider who is the legally registered owner of a motorcycle. Riding membership eligibility may also be accepted in states and or county jurisdictions that acknowledge joint ownership and or registration to persons that are not legally married. Multiple names such as boyfriend, girlfriend, friend, or relative may be listed on the vehicle title or registration in these jurisdictions. The operator of the motorcycle must be the riding member that actually has a legal motorcycle endorsement and listed on either the title or registration along with the unrelated owner. Proper insurance must also be documented. Only 2 riding members per motorcycle may be accepted. All other requirements of Article 7 must be met. Documentation of these states and jurisdictions must be provided by the Riders Department involved, chapter where no department exists, to the National AMVET Riders before any membership will be processed. This was sent to the membership committee. They recommended it be adopted. So basically, in clear language, what this is saying is, if you're in jurisdictions that allow for joint ownership of motorcycles, so forth, common law states, which we just found out yesterday, Iowa is a common law state. If you're in a common law marriage, you no longer will be excluded from becoming a rider. It all has to be legal, so that's basically what this is saying. Do I have a motion to accept this?
Motion, Gunny, Georgia. Second, Barb, Kentucky.
Discussion. Any discussion on this? Any clarifications need to be made on what we're doing here? Yes, sir.
Quick, 5. I am correct in the so be resolved that all other sections of Article 7 have to be, which is the basics. Is that correct?
That is correct. You still have to be an AMVET, a son, or not so. You have to meet all the requirements as you did before.
This is only
It just
relative
allows
to
you, if
motorcycle
you are not
owners,
married,
requirement.
and you legally can be common law to be considered a rider instead of a supporter. There are jurisdictions that have that.
I see it, Vince. Who else had a hand up?
Street of Florida too. Okay, so, they still have to have the motorcycle endorsement be on the title of the registration and insurance, right? Everything.
Have to be an AMVET, son.
So what they still have to.
They have to have every requirement before.
Okay.
The only thing before, the spouse
They
was
still have to be married.
the spouse was exempted because of the legality. Now we're saying common law or where laws allow for it that they can be.
We have any more discussion?
Any more discussion?
Jim, 31, Iowa. You know, if you want to be a rider, not a supporter, buy a bike. If you don't, just be a supporter. I mean, there's a difference. It's clear, it's cut, it's already lined out in the bylaws. I don't think we need to change it.
The argument yesterday, I'm not pushing this one way or the other, but the argument yesterday on that was some people have incentive, they want to be officers. Right?
Now, we have a first and a second.
We have another discussion. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, resolution 3 is basically, I can read through it all if you want, but it is the exact same things we just went through, but it has to do with our bylaws. The same language is in our Constitution as it was in our bylaws, so this is the same resolution dealing with our bylaws that'll be required to pass by 50% or majority. Do you want me to read through it, or, I mean, it is a carbon copy of what we just did. I have a motion.
I make a motion
to accept it as written.
Accept it as written.
Chris in Kentucky, second Gene from Kansas.
We have discussion. Does anybody want it read? Any discussion on what we're doing? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 3 passes. All right, resolution 4. Basically 4 and 5 are going to be the same, but we'll get into that. It's a bylaw resolution that deals with section 7.2 Department Convention. Writers Department of Georgia submitted this properly, and it states, whereas the current bylaws, Article 7, section 7.2, require that election of department officers be done by hand or by voice. And whereas the voting by hand or by voice restricts handicaps, some voting where the members voting may be observed by the candidates, this can lead to hard feelings within a department or chapter. Therefore, be it resolved to amend Article 7, Section 7.2 to read as, elections shall be held at the annual convention at a time and place to be announced no later than 1 hour prior to the start of the convention. The voting shall be by hand, voice, or secret ballot. This came through the CBL committee, voted to adopt. Basically, all this is doing is saying, our bylaws currently say all voting is by hand or voice. We mirror the AMVETS bylaws, and they say there will be no electronic voting of any kind in AMVETS. So this basically is allowing for a secret ballot if requested.
If requested.
If requested. Again, the start of the convention will be, we're going to vote, we're going to do secret ballot, we're going to do hand, we're going to do voice. But it will allow for a secret ballot that was not allowed for before. I'd have a motion to accept this.
Motion, Gunny, Georgia. Second.
Any discussion?
Graham Osborne, Missouri. There you go.
Any discussion?
Yeah.
Yes, sir, Mr.
Everything that, no matter which way we resolve anything at this floor, I don't know if you hit on, you might have, because I'm sometimes down.
I'm going to.
This got to go to AMVETS, and he's got to, new JA's got to rubber stamp it. If he doesn't, it ain't gonna happen. This is in direct conflict with AMVETS, CBL, and what they're stating. Regardless of what's resolved on this floor, they're still gonna rubber stamp it. They could take a dump on it, that could happen. My thought process is to not adopt this until we had an opportunity to work with AMVETS on it.
We got a further discussion, I'm sorry, brother.
Yeah, Curtis Allen, Post 64 Kentucky, or 61 Kentucky. The way the AMVETS do it, they do it as a caucus, like they did today. Whereas all the departments go, or all the states go, and they go and they decide, sit by themselves who they're going to vote for. That way, when it goes to the ballot, it's you were there. They just.
I wasn't. No. I'm a son. That's why I'm not familiar with
But
that.
anyway, they vote through a caucus.
Roll call vote.
Yeah, it's a roll call.
It's a roll. That's by hand or by?
No, they just determine how they.
It is by voice.
Yeah.
By voice.
The language auxiliary that
I got you. Okay, thank you. Hang on one second, brother.
Yeah, the Suns also vote by caucus, same thing. I was with another organization, that Riders organization, and they did
Yeah, we got some more, Jim. John, I got you next one.
Yeah, the MVets, they vote by voice, aye, and all that. They don't use any secret ballots. If we're gonna have a majority vote, say there's 2 candidates, and you have your department heads, they turn around, that whole state will sit over there and talk to their department head. He will come up and say, 5 for John, 6 for Pete. That's the way he does it. They all sit down and they discuss who they're gonna vote for as a group. And one person goes up and casts the ballots.
But it's not a secret ballot.
It's not a secret ballot, no, it's not.
Can I see it, Kevin?
Okay.
Yeah.
Gun Ball, Michigan, 1988. Our department, not the riders, but the AMVETs themselves, we've allowed secret ballots for as long as I've been attending our department meetings. And the way, there always is a concern, Vince, that there is the possibility of issues of a secret ballot. But the process involved with that is once that secret ballot is announced, the losing party has the opportunity to be able to challenge that vote. The votes are then recounted by their champion, who they pick, and then when everything is settled, a motion is made to destroy the ballots, and that's how that process is handled. So.
Somebody else?
Yeah, Kevin, and I got one more.
Kevin from New York.
Now, one more for you, Vince.
We're an organization of transparency. I think this is a little bit more than what's being stated as far as handicap. I think it's about feeling. We're all grown. And if we're gonna be a transparent organization, doing it the way the AMVETs do, where everything's up on the board, you're making your votes, you're making your vote known. I don't see why we should sit here and have a secret ballot. I too, Vince, have been involved with an AMVETs chapter where they had secret ballots, and it was flawed. And then saying to have a champion come in, or whatever the case may be, who's to say that they're not in agreement with the way that result came out? So I'm against it.
One more. What's that? I'm sorry, Vincent, give me a minute.
No, go ahead, just give me. Pretty much answer.
I've seen the secret ballots before, through our AMVETS department also. When the ballots were put in the box, that candidate selects somebody to go back and count, along with the provost marshal. Both candidates have their own representative by their hand that goes count. So everything is completely above board, just in another room, and that's how I've seen that done before. Just so everybody knows there's no transfer or no.
It's gonna be done, Vince. Okay, Jim, carry on, please.
Got one more?
No, I think Vince goes, you need it?
Yeah.
This is it.
Okay, so the situation, that you're talking about, you're talking about, well, you can do all this, you can challenge and all that, unless it says that, you can't do anything. You can't challenge, you can't, do anything like that unless it actually says that. There's nothing in there that says, hey, you can challenge it, or what, you've got 2 people going back there and all that. There's nothing that says that. If there was something that said that, then yeah, you could do it that way. But we don't have anything that says that. And that's what everybody goes by, the written word. And that's all I got.
Thanks, Vince.
Okay, we're gonna wrap this up.
Okay, that's in the discussion.
And again, Rob had a good point, I was gonna bring this up. There's a clause in our bylaws, this unified bylaws, we will submit all these resolutions to the national AMVETS, and they may reject some things that we do. If they do, it's just automatically out of there, we'll notify you of it, so, all right, we're gonna vote, first off, we had a vote to adopt this. We had a motion to adopt this in a second. Let's do this by hand so I can get the count here. Okay, the motion was to adopt. All in favor?
All in favor, stand up, and as I point you out, sit down. That's it? There's only 3 of you? 4 of you? Okay,
The reason
5.
It fails adoption then. The next resolution is another one of those situations where it's the exact same thing, but it was worded in Article 8.3. So we're voting on the exact same things we did in the previous one, but it was in a basically the same. Have a motion to adopt.
Gunny, Georgia.
Second.
Larry, Georgia.
Discussion? No discussion. Do I have fully vote by hand or stand up? All in favor of adopting?
Let's go ahead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay.
Motion fails. That's all I have. Again, these will be submitted. Just for your information, I submitted our unified bylaws last year to the National AMVETS Judge Advocate twice, 2 times. And I asked for, please acknowledge that you've gotten this anyway. I heard nothing. So we do have a new, from what I understand, a new AMVETS Judge Advocate this year. He was the guy that we originally sat down with our draft. He's a deputy JA, and we sat down with our draft and went through. So I'm sure he will at least contact us on what I send him. So keep in mind, anything that we adopted here can be shot down by AMVETS. That concludes all I have.
Okay, we're gonna take a 15-minute break, everybody. We'll be back here at 3:30, please. Yeah.